Hello, Walter.
Hello, Mario.
So we see each other in Thailand,
Hmm.
from Los Angeles to Thailand. You are I think, one of the first guests. Now we see each other here. It was long journey. You come back to your, I can say, homeland somehow, right?
Yes.
You have so much experience with this place. Connect with your journey with the Muay Thai, and still your life, right? I'm really glad you show me also, the kind of history connect with the Muay Thai in Thailand, or I can say it's already international sport. With the foundation, I see you have even Sak Yant,
Hmm.
right? What's the story of this tattoo?
Um, have two on forearms. One is the Hatal, the 5 rows, and the other one the Chot Pet. Most of your Sak Yants, they kind of are rooted in protection, like protection. I mean, and there's some folklore and stories of people getting shot and not dying or even
Mm.
getting hurt. You know, 5 rows has to do with a lot of. They say a lot of actors and performers and people like that. Which is, I mean, I'm a musician and a guitar player, and being a fighter too. You put on a show and everything. The 5 rows is said to accentuate your personality,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe it to be true. I mean, if you believe in uh, the power of these things, it's going to work. If you don't, it probably won't.
Yeah.
So,
So I believe like the Muay Thai is the way to express yourself. You also use the music. You also use your passion to dogs, to animals, I can
mm,
say. And I also believe like everything what you wear and everything like your being is the way of expressing self, right? And I think it's the martial arts is the way when can our body also can be healed by this. And coaching, it's always the part when we give to others something, like we get something from the life, and now is the time to give to
mm.
others. How is your journey right now as a coach with the experience, as a coach with your journey, what you already passed, you change, we grow and we change our life all
Mm.
the time. But I think it's your the things what you told me about the Pattaya, like how crazy it is, like I mean the way how sometimes they go all in as to the training and everything, right? They
Mm.
really like work out hard. Is the same in US, or it's more soft? They trying to be like a more like a fitness or for health, or like they really think about the competition.
Well, there aren't as many places to fight in the
Yeah.
U.S. I mean, you can't be like Thailand where you could fight in malls and outdoors and in bars and stadiums and all levels, many levels, much more d- dimensions to go into. In the states, it's really small. Muay Thai was not. It's relatively new in terms of martial arts and
Hmm.
sport in the United States. I mean, Muay Thai is. I mean, back in the day was illegal. I mean, and where I'm based at in California, you couldn't fight with knees to the head or elbows or things like that. It was very watered down. It wasn't until they had the UFC at the Staples Center, and I remember when this happened because I had retired from fighting, and then when I heard they were going to start allowing us to use, elbows and basically full rules Muay Thai, I got back into it. I was like, oh, I gotta fight again, So that was a major thing. But for the longest time, the Muay Thai was kind of underground, which I like,
Hmm.
and it some of the athletic commissions were they thought it was almost like dirty fighting or something like that, and I know the UFC went through that in the beginning too.
Hmm.
They called it human cockfighting, and
Yeah.
even the
It
politicians.
looks like at the beginning like this, the rules are different. even the clinch and everything looks like quite dirty, like dirty boxing, the elbows and everything, it can looks like this from the outside.
It can be, but it's also in the more sophisticated forms and the more experienced fighters that are using the techniques really proficiently. It's a art form, and there's a lot to Muay Thai. Muay Thai is really now they have a lot of 3-round fights, which I get it. It's a lot of quick action, and they can put a lot more fights on the cards and whatnot. But really, it was designed to be 5 rounds, kind of like chapters of a book too. Which the 4 and 5 round being mostly the clinch and knee work, and in Thailand that's what they did. 4 and 5 round was all clinch and knee. If you tried to do that in the first round, they would, the referee would break it up. You weren't really allowed to do that.
So it was more about the stamina already, like people get tired. So they.
It was. I mean, still is. But and any time you're getting hit, you would think that in fighting that, okay, I'm going to dish out all these, strikes, and I'm going to gas myself out. But you also get very tired from taking shots, from taking abuse. Mm-hmm. You get hit enough times, you're going to be starving for oxygen. Cardiovascularly, it's going to be really stressful on you and your nervous system. So that's another factor. Another thing about Muay Thai is the spiritual side, the ceremony before they fight. It's very important. They call the Wai Khru. Wai Khru being the part that's done on the ground. Respect to the teacher. Wai Khru, the teacher. So that being the part on the ground. Now when they stand up and they do the dancing ceremony, the 3 steps, the Yang Sam Kum type of walking, and with the movements of the dance, Ram Muay means boxing dance, Raming dance, and then Muay Thai boxing. So you have those 2 parts of it, and it's also, how do I put this, like a little bit esoteric too, where they will be doing a prayer when you take the monkan, the headpiece off that they're wearing while you're doing this ceremony, which is worn by, there's a camp monkan that they use. Everybody uses it. It's blessed by the monks. It's charged with, certain, energies, really, spiritual energy. Mm-hmm. And another one of those things, if you believe it has power, if you don't, maybe it won't. So
it's also connected with the Buddhism?
It is. It can be any spiritual aspect you want it to be, though. I mean, you see Muslims using it. I guess, you could be a Christian using that. I mean, it's, I guess, spiritual as opposed to being directly religious. But Thailand is mostly a Buddhist, country, and so that's more prevalent.
So what kind of things right now, like if you are coach, right, and people come to you, how many of them want to compete? How many, want just to, let's say, lifestyle fitness, be healthy?
Well, the most of them may want to compete, but when they start seeing the discipline and not only the work, but the torturous work involved in it, they're like, oh man, I don't know. Maybe not for me. And nobody likes getting hit and getting beat up. It takes a certain individual to go that, down that path. And it also takes I think having a spiritual side is very helpful, because like with me, I liked having almost like a team with me, if I could, and I like prayer too. I mean, I have a spiritual side, so I took to that too.
So it's like the spiritual things is like your team.
It is.
Because it's like your support, right?
It is. Yeah. It is. Something you can't feel, taste, or touch, but it's there, right? And that's, it goes to a deeper level. It's beyond fighting. It's beyond fighting.
So let's go to this level.
Yeah.
What's your belief system about, being a person, being a man, someone who's responsible for others? Because I believe like being a coach, like they also put a lot of trust on you, which I think it's a big part of this, because like if you tell them like, be okay, you can do it and everything, like it's your energy, sending to them.
Right.
And I see this is a big factor. We see many fighters with the coaches on the corner. Like I remember the Leon Edwards on the UFC when his coach said, "Come on, Leon, you can do it. You are better than this, right?" And he knocked out to Kamaru Usman, right? And it was amazing the feeling that the connection, the people and the team and everything give a lot of like support and really believe on this person.
Well, I think it helps from a coaching standpoint if you can lead by example, for one thing. I mean, if you're like, do as I say, not as I do, and you're just like, screwing up, it's very shallow.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not perfect. You don't have to be perfect at it too, but I mean, at least you're making an effort, and you have to have some experience too. I mean, no one can get in there and just be a bullshitter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can try, but it's not going to happen. And I think that fighting is very dangerous, so you have to go. You need a little extra something, And I'll be honest, I like dangerous stuff. I mean, I get bored easily, and fighters are pretty extreme. You almost have to be. It's like, the training, the lifestyle is like you're kind of living like a monk almost. And it doesn't mean you can't have fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. And fighting's not for everybody. And there's plenty of people that come in the gym, they just want to work out. They want to kick ass. They want to get in shape. And, if they have to use it, they have some skills too. And that's very important. I've been training a lot of law enforcement people lately, and they're good students. I enjoy working with them. And there was a time I didn't really like the law enforcement that much, but I got to know a good bit of them personally and became friends too. And it's been a good experience, Actually, I'm moving into I may be working with a group now, and I can't talk too much about it yet, but and kind of help them out. I have a vested interest in those guys too now, and I think it's important that in America there's been the last few years a lot of division too, and I think it's not good. I mean, people we're really the same, all over the world, and everybody bleeds, right? And it's important that we're able to stay motivated in the right direction with a positive, I want to back a positive message.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to back any, bullshit.
Hard to keep the positive message because there's so much bullshit around.
Mm-hmm.
How to, I can say on your age, because I think you also can fit to, for example, people like my parents and everything, and you are, first of all, you are in great shape, right? Your mind, it's, very sharp, right? And you're super active, right? I can see you like all the time, right? Like with these people together, you are not the one who's sitting on the bench and they're pointing other people, right? You are with them. And right now we know it's very hard for everyone even move the ass from the sofa. We see the people active. I think many people active because you surrender with them, but there's a lot of people everywhere who don't move the ass from the room, right?
You don't have to be perfect, right? I think one of the difficulties that we have, and this is human nature too, is over trying, overthinking. You could think something into perfection and never do it. And that's what happens a lot of times. I hear I'll invite someone to the gym, for example. I want to get in shape before I come to your gym, Walt. I'm like, you're never going to come. You know, you don't have to be perfect. You know, you do have to show up. You know, you have to get in there. It starts with the first step. It's like if you're playing guitar, you're not going to grab a guitar and be Yngwie Malmsteen right off the bat. You're going to sound like crap for a while, and that's okay. You know, it's the same thing with fighting. I mean, or doing Muay Thai. You know, I like that a lot of people and a lot of ladies now are doing Muay Thai and getting in shape, and that's another thing too. For self-defense, who do you think someone that's trying to do some criminal activity or attacking people or, you know, raping women or things like that, they're going to prey on the weak, or they're not going to try to, you know, go after some guys like me or you, right? That's not the first choice. So it's important for women and kids too to try and get into that type of training. It's not violent. It's not going to turn a kid into a trained killer. You know, it's going to get out a little bit of negative energy or, you know, just frustration, make them more stable. It's like I'm into dog training protection dogs too. And some of the people, I've heard this too, oh, you're training attack dogs and those dogs are going to be vicious. It's not. That's why I liked the European mindset they had with the dog training. The guys I've met in Germany and Holland and places like that, they're training the dogs to do a lot of bite work and protection work. And it's common and acceptable because a dog is one of the biggest attributes is biting. But they have to learn how to do it, the technique to do it, when to release, when not to do it, things like that. Barking. You got to teach your dog how to bark. You know, we used to count the barks before rewarding the dog. And for a protection dog, you need a dog that barks. It's an alarm in your house, which is one of the best home defense you could get is a good dog, especially a Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd, Doberman, Rottweiler. Those breeds they're made for that type of stuff. And we would train them to bark consistently. I mean, my female German Shepherd I have right now, she's 11. She'll bark 200 times before I give her a grip, and that's her reward, you know. And that's important. It's, like I said, it's an alarm you never need to set. So, training kids to kick pads, to learn techniques, how to defend someone that throws a punch at you, things like that. It's important, you know, and it's also good to develop their temperament and their mannerisms too, not to use it to respect it. I mean, you hear about people that maybe are bullies and things like that. They're not having martial arts training. Yep. You know, if they were to do that, those things would never happen.
And where is the mental preparation? Like, because when I go to, for example, Muay Thai typical lessons, right? It's normal, let's say, normal day, just few things, boxing, some pads and everything, right? But there's nothing about the mental, right? Like, not much. I believe on some level when I go, with the coach and everything. But I think it should be like in every lesson, like the things what you said about, understanding you will be not the best on the first training, takes time. You can come now you need to be bad, you need to have the mistakes, you need to have the process and everything. I think many people don't get it because nobody teach us this. Even on the school we don't have this. Even when you go to some training coach, we don't have this. There's not many
Right.
people really say these things what you said. Like I wish to have many coach when I go, when they tell me
That's
right
why
now
they need to train with me.
yes, that's why.
Or any coach like that, and it is on the coach
Yeah.
to do that.
Because it become normal for for you. It's normal for me also.
true.
But for 90% people, when I say something like this, man, hey, how you make everything? It's like I contact with the 500 people, and then Walter reply, and like, oh, it would never happen to me. How many messages you send? 5. It's like, no, you need to try it 500 times minimum. Don't expect results, just do it. Many people don't have this kind of attitude, or even lessons from someone.
Well, that is on the. It's important that we have mentors in life, right? And I had some good ones. I mean, my coach in Thailand that you just went to the camp there too, Kriya Tong, won the lottery in Thailand, gave the money away to the poor. And before that, my father was my first mentor, and he was a mean dude. I mean, he was a good guy, but I tried to learn boxing from him. He just beat my ass, but he showed me how to be tough. And then Richard Bastille was a big mentor of mine. Sifu Richard, Bruce Lee student in the 60s in Chinatown. And those guys believed... I was influenced by Bruce Lee a lot, too.
I mean, you met him live?
I didn't meet Bruce Lee, but one of his Chinatown students, Richard Bastille, was one of my first martial arts teachers. He introduced me to my first Muay Thai coach, Nanfasi Radecho, which was another mentor. He was the one that I trained with that actually passed away, and after he died, his family gave me his equipment and a letter to get into Sak Yant camp. That's how I started in Thailand, too. But back to Bruce Lee, I really liked his, and he influenced so many people still to this day with his ideas and concepts and using no way is way, absorb what is useful, things like that.
Break the rules.
Break the rules. You got to know the rules before you break them, right? And then you break the rules.
Yeah.
You're not just free form doing whatever. There's a method to what we do, It's like playing music. They say, like, if you know music theory, you don't play with feeling. You play by, systems or numbers. It's not true. You know the systems of and numbers, and, playing in a minor key, flatting the third note in a major scale becomes a minor key, changes the dynamic of it, makes it maybe a darker sound, which suits certain aspects. And fighting's like that, too, where you can't always use the same technique. Because maybe the distance is different. Maybe the timing is different. Maybe the stance of the opponent changes. So all the targets are different too. So it's always evolving. It's always changing. So you have to be able to have the technology and knowledge to be able to adapt. And that has to do with knowing the fundamentals of fighting and then being able to improvise too. When we improvise, things come up on the fly, and we've got to think right now and change it. You can't do that unless you know the rules, and then you can break them.
You think it's possible to learn Muay Thai from YouTube?
I think that you can learn a lot of really cool stuff because everybody's out there and they're on it. But solely from that, I think you can, but I think it's going to leave you with a little bit of missing pieces.
Because it's also about the people, right? Like, I know having great coach, it's also a required searching. changing. You also need to say sometimes no to the people who are close to you. And I think it's many people don't have the balls to do things like this, because first of all, they think it's the loyalty, but I think it's not works like this. If you on the place when it's not suit you, when it's even block you on the grow and everything, you need to change place. But I think many people just trying to stick on someone because of the location. The same when we are young and we have our friends and we don't want to lose these people, so we stick with the average people. It's not about judging them, but you want to grow, you want to go harder, right? You look in different taste. So we should, I think, even finding the coach, we should try and testing and just check many people, to have the different version of the reality of the different kind of coaches, because your way, it's like I feel it, right? Like training with you would be like pleasure, because it's not will be not physically, it will be mentally, it will be something what I can study. If it's something what I can understand when it's coming from, it will be something with the spirituality, which I'm really trying to put everything together. For me, it's like a body and mind connected. It's become spirituality. If we express ourselves, spirituality comes naturally. So training with you, it will be very deep foundation of expressing myself, healing myself, do my best of the ability, without the ego. And people like this, it's a hard time to find them. It's the same like a hard time to find the best friend, right? Hard time to find our love, in life, right? And I think it's a challenge, like how to look to the people and the coach. Did you also experience like people leave you to another coach, like how it looks like, how it's happened?
Of course. Well, back to the mention of the YouTube thing, and then I'll get to that. One thing about learning on YouTube, yeah, you can get a lot of information, you can learn a lot of really cool stuff and everything, but it was like, it made me think when you mentioned that, when we had the pandemic and we had to teach, we still taught classes in martial arts and Muay Thai and stuff. You had to do it on Zoom and online, right? There's no hands-on. Martial arts has to be, you have to get hit. You have to feel it. You have to, understand it. Can't do that. So that's a pitfall with learning everything if you were to do it on YouTube. But as far as finding a mentor and learning like that, you gain a lot of different insight that may or may not be valuable to you, and then it's up to you to put it together. It's like if you're playing I'm going to go back to the analogy of music, because I love playing guitar.
But it's connected. It's connected.
Yes,
right?
You're going to learn certain things from different artists, and then you're going to merge it into your style. And that's the same way fighting is, because there's many different styles. Muay Thai, I mean, there's punchers and elbows, there's clinch and knee work, there's what they call Muay Thai, Muay Femur, which is the timing type of style that they use. So it's not only what works for you, but is what you want to be. You can do anything you want to do, but you got to put in the work. And then like I said before, you have to adapt to what comes at you, because it's changing. So finding a coach is important. Looking at different ones is good, but also when you find a coach, loyalty is everything to me. And you do have to be loyal to your people that brought you up, and gratitude's really important too. To be grateful for the things you learned, because it's everything to you. I mean, and nobody likes an ungrateful individual that's just like a taker and never gives back. They only give a shit about nothing but themselves. And that's not a good place to be, I don't think. So.
Because I also thinking like many even it's my just concept, like if we get also students who like leave us, right, it's also information for coach about who you need to improve as well, right? Because like putting self already on the coach, like it's also create the ego, like I'm better than you because it's my student and everything, right? But it's also that we are, we know we need to grow, we need to also put the work, like you do. You don't talk, you do, right? You are do it by sample, and that's how you basically teach people, right? You are with them, you are the leader, but you jogging with them, you train with them, right? You spend time with them, you teach them, you talk to them. It's something unique, and I think it's the way of the standards what's supposed to be. I don't know if there is some standards for this, or like saying like this is requirement for be a coach. I think for me, yes.
Yeah,
For,
there's
for
no
me,
requirement.
there's no
Yeah.
requirements, right? But for me, like it's all in. If I work with someone, it's like I'm your best friend, I'm your partner. We work together on many different levels. If you have a bad day and everything, we work on this,
Yeah.
right? If you have financial problem, we talk about this one. And when you talk about the loyalty, I also believe it's the communication, right? Because there's nothing wrong to change to,
It's
to do
honesty,
something.
too.
It's honesty, yeah.
I
Be
mean, the
real.
most important relationship between an athlete and a coach is based on honesty. It's also telling someone when they do something well, when they do something good, but it's also telling them when they're fucking up.
Both sides?
Yes.
Because many people don't want to, like,
One or the other.
Students not allowed to say anything to the coach. They're afraid, right?
Yeah,
But
or
it's because the coach create us, distance between like I'm here, you here.
yeah, but it's also sometimes the coaches patronize the clients or the students too because they want the paying, customer, which maybe you have to do that, but it's not. It's rather dangerous in a fighter coach scenario, because if I'm pumping you up, this is a piece of cake, you're gonna smash this individual. But the truth of the matter is you're not preparing them either mentally. I will tell guys, I really don't like when I hear a coach or someone give you advice for fighting and they say, you got this. No, you don't got this. You never got it. You ever heard the saying too in boxing? They say, he's got a puncher's chance, because you can be just getting laced up and just ready to get knocked out, and then all of a sudden come back and you win by knockout. That happens. And that is something that you could never rely on. You got this, because you don't. I mean, anything could happen in a fight. So I would never say that. I never tell someone they got this, because you can't underestimate anyone, and you can't disrespect them, because you might look like a fool, and it is dangerous, because underestimating somebody, it leaves you vulnerable too. So it's not a code that I would, pervade. Yeah.
Do you think the martial arts is the way to escape from the addictions or the dopamine?
I do.
And I don't say the bad way, because many people think like, okay, I have my shadow, I have my demons, and I need to do something. I think everyone have a shadow and demons. Just everyone use different tools to handle. Some people drink, some people take something. Some people, when we talked before about, sex, about, porn and everything, some people staying on the phone, using computer for the posting everything. It's amazing, because it's allowed you to, these different feelings. And also you don't scroll, you don't sit and everything, which is, it's very important. It takes a lot of like mental shit,
Yes.
to just to scroll
Fatiguing.
and scroll. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think the martial arts is like the best way to escape from this, because you build yourself as well. You have.
I do, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that just in my own experience, I mean, fighting kept me out of a lot of trouble, because one, you have to live a relatively clean lifestyle, or you're gonna lose. You can't cut weight if you're drinking a 12 pack every night of beer, or if you're staying up all night, doing lines of speed or something, it's very counterproductive. You're not going to be able to be in fighting shape, cardiovascular health, many things. So living a clean lifestyle is mandatory. Also, to keep your mind clear too. Your mind, do you want to win? Well, you have to have discipline. It's simple.
Yeah, what about discipline? There's so much like promotion about this one. We know motivation. People say motivation not work. I always say like, okay, there's motivation. There's discipline. Discipline is most you get from yourself. But I also believe it's still not enough. Like, it should be something what keep you going, like find the goal, find the plan, maybe some strategy and everything, right? It can be competition, for example. It can be do for someone. It can be get out from my shit because I really like struggle with depression, whatever, right? Or maybe some plan to achieve something and put more goals on this. I do it for my family, for my father, for my kid and everything. To even keep going, even wake up and go jogging, it's the big things for many people to do this every day, and I think saying someone you need to have a discipline, it's not working, everyone know this, but still people don't do it,
Well, you don't have to be perfect, right?
So what do you recommend? Like, what do you think can build this strategy to get out from motivation? Because motivation is like external. You can watch motivation movie. I can listen you
Right.
to tonight I won't, but tomorrow it looks different, right?
Well, that's easy. First of all, you got to start small. You get too big of, pipe dreams like I'm going to be, world champion or, fighting in the UFC next week. It ain't going to happen.
6-pack tomorrow,
Right.
yeah.
So you've got to be realistic. Go run a mile. Do something small. Hit the bag or kick the bag for 5 minutes. Not fast or anything, but start small, right? And then build from there. And do it every day. Just take that 10 minutes to do it every day. And that's going to increase into more. And once you start increasing into a little bit more, you start enjoying it more too. When you get good at something, we enjoy it. No one likes to do stuff terrible.
That's great.
Once you enjoy something, you want to do it more, right?
Wow.
And then we do enjoy something that's good for us more. We want to do it more, and we become good at it. And that's the whole key to the whole picture right there.
Yeah, that's big, man. Because it's real, like even on the Muay Thai, you see, it's even not feel right when you punching. Even you not, you see it looks not even nice.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, but once like you're getting better on this, you enjoy more. But if you put too much tension to be like this on the beginning, you lose the motivation, discipline for whatever you call this for the next day.
Right.
And even saying like going for like 1.5 hour, I think it's not it's too much for many people. For 90%, because the coaches want to give the best.
Yes.
They put a lot of energy. They put sometimes into like a show because they want to show they are great. But for many people, they cannot handle.
Exactly.
And they come for holiday for 2 weeks, and they never come back until the next year holiday in Phuket or Bangkok or Pattaya.
That goes back to what we mentioned earlier, the over-trying and overthinking. We're over-trying and we're looking for perfection. We're overthinking and we want this, we want that, we want everything, and we don't do nothing. And it's a defeatist attitude. I got this, I want to recommend a book too, With Winning in Mind by Lanny Bassam. He was an Olympic rifle shooter. And he talks about those things and a couple other things in his book. It's sports psychology, but you can relate it to anything, even daily life, You know who are some of the big sports psychologists? Is the golfers too. Really, it's more of a mental game than a physical game in that, and the pressures are different too. But fighting, and it's funny you mentioned that too, that the coaching doesn't really go into the realm of the mindset. How much of a percentage of fighting do you think, in controlling your nerves is going into a big fight? I mean, how much of it would you say is mental?
I can say 90%.
If you have something that's 90% of your game and you have no method to practice it, or you don't work on it, do you think that's a smart way to undertake this sport?
But they think it's opposite. They think it's 90% physically.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And they're getting bigger, they're getting, testosterone, this one, but the crazy dosage, they're getting bigger. The ego build up because they mostly meet smaller one, right, on the gym. So the confidence grow up, the fake confidence. And it's the problem come up because you think you are better than someone who coming from the different purpose, right?
It's kind of like pouring water in a mud puddle, right? You're doing more and getting less, so the mental game is really important, right? For instance, when you're fighting in front of a crowd, it's not like being in your own gym or your garage with one of your buddies or, your cousin or something. It's really nerve-wracking and it's a lot of stress.
Yes.
You probably won't be able to pull off everything you've done perfectly in the gym. And that's when it really matters. Do we want to do stuff when it really matters, or we want to do, just stuff that's going to go nowhere? Of course we want to do stuff that really matters. We want to do that champion stuff. So in order to do that, we've got to look into our own mind, right? I mean, the body, it all works together. So.
But if you put this in life right now, because this is a one-to-one to life, right? If it's 90% mental, in life the same, right? Whatever you do, even if you want to be healthy, right? How we can get the mindset, how we can get the coaches in life, right? Because we know the coach from Muay Thai is there, right? We know some people who like personal coach, personal development, coaching when they talk about different things. But usually we touch so many things. It's about the food. It's about our, even a relationship and everything. But then we need to have 10 different coaches, right? And because you met people who are like your authority, I can say like mentors, which is very amazing to have someone who's real, right? Like Bruce Lee, no need to be like face, but we learn a lot from the people like this, right? And do you like combine everyone together and you put yourself inside, this circle of the mentors, like, and build your life right now?
You do. That's exactly what you do.
It's a martial arts. Martial arts, like you said, it's a combination of you and all the lessons.
You got to believe in yourself, and it all happened for you, right? And it takes time, right? And that's all going to merge together. So, if you're playing guitar, you're doing much more chords and scales and noises and all kinds of shit. When I play guitar, and the people I really were influenced by the most, two guitar players influenced me most, Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen. Some of the shit they did was just fucking sounds and noises. It wasn't even notes, squeals, and Hendrix using the whammy bar like that, and making like siren noises, and Van Halen making those noises. I saw a thing on Eddie before he died. He was saying, he was demonstrating like some of his sounds. He goes, "Here's an elephant. I doing it," and it was like, he did this thing where he rolled the volume knob and pulled the bar up. It was fucking awesome, But it's not playing notes even. It's making sounds.
I remember with my friend when I started doing like a freelance the rap. I mean, start rapping and everything. He said, "Oh, you need to learn 2 years, then you can start singing something." Like no, you just go and then you practice, you do it.
What
and
you
everything.
want, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also, you see, even he was open-minded. He mindset showed like you need to go school, you need to have a 2 years, so then you can start something. And like, I don't believe
Not
this concept.
necessarily, yeah.
And also I start doing, and basically we start doing the some clips, some videos, and like I mean music and everything. And I also learned was most beautiful things what I experienced. I learned the concept how I create the lyrics, the text, and the melody and everything on my head, but using my own version. So basically, I like
Your own style.
on my style, and
Yeah.
like, but then I realized it's with everything.
Right.
It's everything. There's my own version of that, and it's no wrong, no right. It's mine. And basically it's right because it's mine.
Yep.
And this is the beauty of this. Like, you just do it.